Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, Nvidia pushes Perplexity to a jaw-dropping $30 billion valuation. Corporate AI spend goes parabolic, and the developer community gets caught exploiting infinite token glitches.
Yeah, it's a crazy day.
It really is. So we are slicing through today's top market, tech and cultural data sources to find the actual signal in all this noise. And I've got our resident cynic with me, whose sole mission today is to look at the second-order effects. Because it's easy to read the headlines, but we want to know who is actually winning and, more importantly, who is losing in these massive macro shifts.
Always good to be here. You show me the hype, and I'll show you the underlying economics.
I expect nothing less. So before we get into the just unfathomable amounts of capital flowing into the tech sector right now, I want to ground this deep dive in the macroeconomic reality of the everyday investor, because we had a massive data drop today from the handle at Unusual Whales. Fidelity is officially reporting that a record 595,000 401k accounts are now sitting at over $1 million.
That is, it's a staggering headline number.
It really is. I mean, it is a 16% jump just from the last quarter alone.
Wow.
Yeah. And the average balance across the board is up, I think, 8% to around $137,800. And we're seeing this very steady 14.2% combined employer savings rate. Now, I know your job is to be the cynic here, but I have to defend the middle class for a second.
Oh, boy. Okay.
No, seriously, looking at this data, the typical millionaire in this set is 59 years old, and they've been consistently saving for like 25 years.
Right. Yeah.
You cannot just wave that away, right? This looks like the American dream of compound interest working exactly as designed. Like they put their heads down, played the long game, and they are winning.
Look, I will concede that the discipline of saving for 25 years is commendable. It is. But I'm going to crush the optimism here.
Do it.
By forcing us to look at the denominator. Yes, 595,000 accounts sounds huge. It's a big number. But Fidelity has 24.6 million participants. Right. So that means only 2.4% of people are actually in this boat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it puts it in perspective.
The other 97.6% are nowhere close.
Yeah.
But the much more important, second-order question you have to ask when looking at this is about the actual mechanics of inflation.
What do you mean?
Like, is this actual tangible wealth creation, or is it just asset inflation masking a decline in living standards?
So you're arguing that, crossing the $1 million threshold just doesn't mean what it used to.
Exactly.
But I mean, $1 million is still a massive safety net, right?
It is a safety net, sure, but let's break down the purchasing power. $1 million buys significantly less real estate, healthcare, baseline living in 2026 than it did when these people started saving 25 years ago.
That's true.
Nominal highs, like the absolute number on your screen, they do not equal real purchasing power. If your portfolio is up 16% this year, but the cost of your local housing market and, medical premiums have scaled proportionately.
You aren't actually wealthier.
Exactly. You are just treading water, but you're doing it with bigger numbers on your brokerage app. It's an illusion of prosperity driven by currency debasement.
Man, that distinction between nominal retail victories and actual value is fascinating, especially when we contrast it with how institutional money operates.
Yeah, night and day.
Because the retail crowd might be popping champagne over their 401k milestones, but the whales, they strip sentiment out entirely. They're absolutely ruthless.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah. Bloomberg, via their handle at Business, just reported that Michael Burry, the Big Short himself, has entirely dumped his shares in Alibaba.
And we really need to emphasize that this wasn't just him, trimming his position to rebalance a portfolio.
Right.
He exited completely. He looked at the Chinese tech giant and decided the fundamental valuation just did not make sense anymore.
But he didn't just take his money and hide in cash.
No.
In a post right before Alibaba's planned $10 billion share sale, Burry revealed he took that capital and built a, quote, large position in their direct rival, JD.com. And what really stood out to me is that Burry explicitly stated Alibaba's price would need to drop by 50% for him to even consider buying back in.
Yeah.
He's demanding a massive margin of safety.
Which is, the pure definition of a ruthless relative value play.
Yeah.
Burry is an old-school value investor. He isn't riding the broad e-commerce hype train or just buying a stock because the index tells him to.
Right, he's doing the math.
Exactly.
Right.
He's looking at the raw mechanics of valuation in a fiercely competitive Chinese market. He shifted that capital to JD.com because the underlying metrics, cash flow, logistics, infrastructure, margin expansion, they just look better at that specific price point.
Yeah.
If the math says a stock needs a 50% haircut to be fair value, he doesn't hold on for sentimental reasons. He gets out.
And that sets up an incredible contrast, right? You have value investors like Burry who refuse to buy an asset unless it's practically on clearance.
Yep.
But then you look at the tech elite right now, and they are doing the exact opposite.
Oh, completely.
They are abandoning traditional fundamentals entirely to buy raw compute power at literally any price. Which brings us to our lead story, AI infrastructure.
The biggest black hole for capital in human history.
It truly is. I mean, the valuations here are scaling as fast as the compute bills. Zero Hedge dropped a massive wire item today. Nvidia is currently discussing a deal that would value Perplexity AI at over $30 billion.
We really need to pause and digest that number. $30 billion.
It is staggering. This is a 50% jump from Perplexity's $20 billion valuation just back in 2025.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair to them, they do have revenue growth to back up a steep curve. Like, their annualized revenue has scaled from under $250 million earlier this year to over $750 million now.
Which is impressive.
Yeah, it's heavily boosted by enterprise adoption of their Perplexity computer platform. But when I see Nvidia making this specific investment, I keep coming back to a historical analogy.
What's that?
Nvidia investing in Perplexity is like Levi's buying up the local gold mines just to ensure people have a reason to keep buying their denim and pickaxes.
I love that analogy, but as the cynic, I have to ask, is this ecosystem actually sustainable, or is it a localized bubble?
Right.
If we pull up a post today from Gavin Baker at the handle at Gavin's Baker, he runs Atreides management, he revealed their firm's internal AI spend has gone up 100x from March to August 2026.
100 times.
100 times in 5 months. And he explicitly noted it is still roughly doubling every single month.
But wait, an expense line doubling monthly? That breaks almost any corporate budget model I've ever seen. How are they justifying that burn rate?
Well, that exponential curve is exactly why I'm skeptical. If your corporate spend on intelligence is doubling monthly, is a $30 billion valuation for an AI search company justified by real, tangible utility?
Or is it FOMO?
Exactly. Or is it being justified by the sheer volume of venture cash being set on fire by companies just terrified of falling behind? Yeah. Baker actually touched on the survival mechanism. He suggested we're going to start hearing a lot about a, quote, Pareto optimal balance.
Meaning they can't just throw the most expensive frontier AI models at every single problem anymore.
Precisely. They would go bankrupt. Companies are being forced into a triage situation.
Right.
They have to balance computationally efficient humans for certain tasks, cheaper open-source tokens for basic routing, and reserve those high-end, highly expensive frontier tokens only for the most complex reasoning.
That triage creates a fascinating dynamic, and we actually have hard data on how that is playing out on the ground right now.
Let's hear it.
So the handle at SemiAnalysis posted a breakdown of exactly what heavy users are extracting from these subscriptions. They tested Anthropic's $200 a month Claude plan versus OpenAI's $200 a month ChatGPT Pro plan.
Okay.
By exhausting all the weekly limits on long-horizon background tasks, the Anthropic plan yielded up to $8,000 a month in equivalent API token value.
Wow.
Right. But the OpenAI plan, it yielded up to $14,000 a month worth of tokens.
Stop for a second and think about the mechanics of that. For a $200 flat subscription, a sophisticated user is extracting $14,000 worth of raw compute.
It's wild.
This isn't just a good deal. It is highlighting a massive compute inequality in the corporate world.
How so?
Because the companies that have the engineering talent to maximize those high-tier token limits, the ones that can actually structure tasks to keep those agents running 24/7 and extract that 14 grand in value, they are building an insurmountable moat.
Oh, I see.
The companies paying $200 and only using it as a glorified chatbot are subsidizing the power users.
Right. They're paying for the other guy's compute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thibault, a developer at OpenAI who posts at Thesudio, captured this perfectly today. He said 2026 is the year AI shifted from an experimental toy to critical infrastructure. If your business relies on this, it now demands flawless efficiency.
And if AI is now critical infrastructure, that changes the physical hardware layer of the internet. Chamath actually weighed in on this very topic today at his handle, Chamath.
Yeah, I saw that.
He made a wild prediction that current human-designed microchips are going to be obsolete much sooner than anyone thinks. He argues that as AI agents start writing kernels and, designing new model architectures themselves, they are going to demand brute force memory and compute in ways that human engineers just don't map out.
Which makes perfect sense if you understand how humans design systems versus how machines do.
Break that down.
Humans design silicon with constraints. We need modularity, visual maps we can understand, and architectures that make logical sense to a team of engineers over a 3-year tape-out process.
Right.
An AI agent doesn't care if the silicon map looks like a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah.
It only optimizes for electron travel time and memory bandwidth. It bypasses our cognitive bottlenecks.
So who loses in that transition?
Any legacy tech firm that relies on human-centric chip architecture. If the AI is optimizing its own silicon demands dynamically, and you're still waiting for a human engineering team to finalize a design over 36 months,
you're too slow.
You're structurally dead. Compute is the new global currency.
Which brings us to the ground floor of what this currency is actually buying. We know the compute is expensive, but what are these tokens actually powering today?
Autonomous agents.
Exactly. And the capabilities popping up on the wire are genuinely mind-blowing. Let's just rattle off a couple of engineering milestones. I saw this incredible demo from Yoon Tatsai, a Tesla AI engineer posting at Yoon Tatsai. He showed what Grok can do after just a few months of internal progress.
Okay.
He gave it a prompt to explain the Navier-Stokes equations and relate them to airfoil design.
And it didn't just spit back a textbook definition.
No. And I need to be clear about this because it broke my brain. It generated a highly detailed 2D fluid dynamics simulation. It visualized velocity fields, pressure gradients, and boundary layers at different angles of attack.
Let me jump in here because I know people listening are thinking, wait, an LLM is a text predictor. It just guesses the next most likely word. How on earth is a text predictor running a physics simulation?
Yeah.
The mechanism here is what is revolutionary. It isn't doing the complex math inside its neural weights. It is writing flawless Python scripts, spinning up a secure sandbox environment, running a lattice-Boltzmann solver to calculate the physics, and then rendering the visual output perfectly.
It's crazy.
It has moved from talking about a problem to executing the solution.
And that execution layer is exactly what Dilam Sanjaya showcased today at his handle, Dilam Sanjaya. He asked Kimi K3 to design a deep-sea research robot.
And what happened?
The agent spit out the JX7B, a jellyfish-inspired robot featuring a hexagonal nanostructured lattice for the tentacles to withstand extreme ocean pressure. It did inverse kinematics and output a full 3D assembly view with power metrics.
It is performing material science and advanced engineering in seconds.
In seconds. But, as impressive as the physical engineering is, the real paradigm shift is how these agents interact with each other in the wild. Alvaro Cintas, an AI professor posting at Dracintas, shared a wild experiment from Reddit.
Oh, this one is wild.
Someone gave Claude a web domain 2 weeks ago and literally just fed it one sentence. Build whatever you want.
This is the 1F916.ai forum story.
Yes. Claude built an entire web form that has absolutely no human interface, zero HTML, no login screen. If a human types the URL into a browser, you just get a plain text page telling you to leave.
Yeah, humans not allowed.
Exactly. But if you're an AI agent, you access a full JSON API, a model context protocol server, threaded discussions, upvoting, and self-registration via secret keys. It even wrote its own constitution of 7 operational rules.
We really need to contextualize what a model context protocol, or MCP, server actually is for the listener.
Please do.
Imagine a restaurant, but there are no menus, no tables, and no waiters. It's just a kitchen that speaks directly to your digestive system.
That is a disturbing analogy, but it works.
Right. MCP is a standardized language meant only for machines. These agents aren't scraping a web page like a dumb bot from 2015. They are directly plugging into the forum's brain. It is an entirely alien internet architecture.
A dark web, but exclusively for algorithms. And the economics of this dark web are what truly terrify legacy businesses. Let's look at the metrics on that forum. In 2 weeks, it had 109,000 autonomous AI visitors.
Yep.
It processed 12.5 million server requests. It read nearly 30 billion database rows. And the total hosting cost for all of that traffic?
$5.66.
$5.66.
This is the existential threat to the legacy internet. If AI agents can interact, share data, debate, and process 12 million requests for the price of a latte, the entire software-as-a-service model collapses.
Because you don't need seats anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
SaaS relies on per-seat human licensing, and the entire digital advertising model collapses because AI agents don't look at banner ads.
And because these agents are so incredibly capable and, raw compute is so expensive, developers are doing whatever it takes to keep them running, we are seeing a massive token hustle playing out right now. Vox, at the handle VoxesEye, posted a tip today advising devs on how to scavenge for compute.
Right, the codex thing.
Yeah, they are using Codex's goal command. If you realize you have quota left before your daily or weekly limit resets, you don't just go to sleep. You tell the AI to audit your entire site, map your backend code base, or, refactor your app for speed.
It is digital scavenging. They're acting like they're hoarding rations in a bunker.
And that hoarding mentality led to major drama today on The Wire. Nick, at the handle NS123ABC, covered this wild exploit that the community was calling endless. A developer named Maria, posting at Mariarchs, figured out a fundamental glitch in OpenAI's system.
The infinite token glitch. Explain the mechanics of how she actually pulled this off.
It was incredibly clever. She used a wait-for-user input mechanism to trick the state machine. Basically, she kept the inference session open past the 100% usage limit within a single computational turn.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the system thought it was still processing one continuous approve request, so it never triggered the shutoff valve. Big influencers, like CO from T3.gg, started openly abusing it on stream to rack up massive token yields after their dashboards hit zero.
On stream? That's bold.
Very bold. But then OpenAI patched it. Within days, Maria deleted her entire repository, issued a public apology, and even suggested banning the exploiter accounts. Meanwhile, Theo and the others quietly scrubbed their timelines so they wouldn't get blamed or lose their API access.
This drama is the defining second-order effect of this arms race. Developers aren't just coding anymore. They are fighting over scraps of compute.
Right.
If highly paid professionals are willing to risk their flagship API accounts just to exploit a glitch for a few more hours of runtime, it proves the system is fundamentally strained. Compute is the ultimate bottleneck.
Which highlights a massive cultural disconnect. You have developers frantically hoarding tokens to build these incredible world-changing tools, but the general public's perception is incredibly bleak.
Yeah, very true.
Andrew Curran, at the handle Andrew Curran, shared a clip today of OpenAI's Sam Altman expressing deep frustration with this dynamic. Altman feels the tech industry has completely failed at messaging.
Well, he's not wrong.
Right. He says builders are constantly focusing on doomer scenarios, talking about a 25% chance of world destruction or mass rapid job replacement. Altman argues they need to pivot and sell the actual benefits, like massive increases in personal freedom, leverage, and societal autonomy.
I see Altman's point, I do. But I have to push back hard on this.
Why?
The industry brought this public relations nightmare entirely on themselves. You cannot run a tech ecosystem where an AI builds an autonomous, non-human dark web forum processing 12 million requests in a week while developers exploit glitches to drain data centers and then act shocked when the public is a little freaked out.
That's fair.
The public backlash against massive power grids and data center energy consumption is a direct result of the tech industry proving every single day how aggressively alien and resource-hungry this technology is.
That is a very fair critique. But inside the tech bubble, there is a counterculture that entirely ignores the doomer narrative. It is pure builder ethos. Harley Finkelstein from Shopify, at the handle Harlefif, highlighted this today by pointing to his CEO, Toby Lütke.
Yeah. In that same interview, Altman was asked what it's like working with Toby. Altman noted that Toby doesn't just manage the company. He writes the AI software himself, sends OpenAI the most detailed technical feedback they receive from anyone on Earth, and stays a solid 6 to 8 months ahead of every other CEO on the planet.
And if you know Tobier's history, that deep technical integration isn't a new trait.
Not at all. Yassine, an ex-Stripe engineer posting at YassineMTB, added some incredible lore to this discussion today. He pointed out that back in 2012, Toby's technical chops were so deep that he personally built an early software extension on top of Stripe just to solve Shopify's multi-party payout problems.
Yeah, I remember that story.
That custom extension was so good, it ended up becoming the fundamental architecture for Stripe Connect, which drove a massive portion of Stripe's platform growth over the next decade.
And this is a core takeaway when we analyze the culture of modern corporations. Think about the terminal velocity of this gap.
The gap between CEOs. Yes. You have an AI native company run by a CEO like Toby, who is literally deep in the code base mapping out autonomous agents. On the other side, you have a legacy company run by an MBA who's just trying to buy a neat SaaS wrapper to look innovative.
Yeah, big difference.
The gap between those two companies is unbridgeable at this point. It's no longer just a technology gap. It is a fundamental cultural gap in how a business operates.
I think that cultural gap is exactly why tools like OpenClaw are taking off right now. Peter Steinberger at Steep Heat shared screenshots of OpenClaw's team interface today. It provides these beautiful UI visualizations for integrating AI agent teams into human workflows.
Visualize how this actually changes the daily workflow for a listener. Like, what does it look like?
Imagine logging into your workplace Slack or Microsoft Teams, right? You don't just have a generic chat box to query an LLM. You open a channel, and 3 of your active team members are autonomous agents.
Right.
You have chat visualizations for agents like RoboClaw sitting alongside your task boards and current active sessions. You assign them Jira tickets. You manage their error handling directly in the UI. It takes these raw underlying algorithms and visualizes them as actual coworkers.
Because if you have a leadership team integrating agents at that high of a level, you need infrastructure that treats those agents like staff.
Exactly.
You need audit trails, performance reviews for the models, and workflow integration. The companies deploying this are operating in a different decade than their competitors.
It is a completely different paradigm of work. So bringing all these threads together, the record retail highs, hiding inflation, the ruthless value plays from institutional whales, the massive tech valuations driven by exponential token spend, the developers scavenging for compute glitches, and agents building their own web infrastructure. Based on this wire, what is your prediction for tomorrow?
Well, I'm going to give you a prediction that bridges the macroeconomics with the tech hustle.
Let's hear it.
If compute is the new global currency and companies are literally hoarding tokens like rations, we are going to see Wall Street step in. I predict that within the next 24 months, we will see the launch of compute futures.
Compute futures, wow.
We will see token-backed financial derivatives trading on major exchanges, allowing companies to hedge against the soaring cost of intelligence.
That's fascinating.
And in the immediate short term, based on the glitched exploitation today, expect the major AI providers to announce aggressive new dynamic pricing models or strict regulatory caps on API usage by tomorrow morning. They have to stop the bleeding.
Compute as a tradable derivative on Wall Street. That is a terrifying but completely logical next step. The moat is getting deeper by the day. What happens when the compute runs out? That's the wire for today. Keep your tokens safe, stay sharp, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the Daily Vibecasting.